lights on. Are we ready? Yeah, we're ready. Let's get this started. Alright, hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Robbie and I'm going to talk about calorie and macros counting and how that fits in the overall nutrition. Now, this isn't like a breakdown of the macros itself and the systems in the body that break them down, nor is it dictating macros to your body type, because these things are very individual, and your needs may not be the same as my needs. The sports that you do or your lifestyle is not exactly the same as how I'm approaching it. But I do want to touch on how important it is to know exactly what your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, and your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, is, to knowing where you're at while you're consuming things during the day. Now, basal metabolic rate is the rate at which you are burning calories at your base state. So let's say you're not doing anything, you're just working at your job, if it's a sedentary job, and you're just sitting down on the computer or whatnot. So it's when you get up in the morning, you do your thing, general activities that burn up calories. So BMR is your caloric intake, the number of calories that you usually need to get in you to be able to function at that baseline level. Now, TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, is a factor. So it's your, let's say for me, because I'm relatively active throughout the day, not just for my job, but with the exercise and whatnot, my factor to multiply the BMR with is 1.6, 1.65, depending on how intense the day's exercise is. These factors, again, like computing your BMR and computing for TDEE, that can all be researched on Google. You could just type in basal metabolic rate or total daily energy expenditure, and there are calculators online that you could plug in your age, your height, your weight, all those numbers in, and it will do it for you automatically as a rough estimate of what you're actually at. Even if it's not 100% accurate, of course, your days could vary. It's a good baseline for planning your food consumption for the day. Now, given your TDEE calories that you usually need to be active in that, the factor that you're multiplying the BMR with, it gives you that caloric threshold, at least, that you could either go above if you're trying to build, or go below if you're trying to be on a caloric deficit. Now, there are three factors, what everyone keeps hearing, like count your macros, whatnot. The three factors, the main macros that everyone counts: protein, carb, fat. Now, those things, you can aim for specific grams of each of them, but all in all, at the end of the day, what those grams translate to are the calories that you're taking each macronutrient in. So your total caloric intake can be broken down through those three main macros that I just listed. So let's say for protein, if you're aiming for 130 grams of protein, you're actually looking at 520 calories from protein. That takes up that portion of your TDEE. So let's say you're trying to be at a caloric deficit, it is actually possible to keep hitting your gram target for protein, or let's say carb or fat or whatnot, while hitting those calories that you need for your total day or your deficit, like the actual number that you're aiming for. So for me, what I was aiming for was like 1.5 to 2 times my body weight, pretty much, for protein, only because my carbs and my fat were low. So that actually accounted for more calories of my caloric deficit. So I brought everything else down, but actually increased my protein. So that kind of levels the pie chart out. Now, I did want to talk about pie charts because, like, if you think about the macros in terms of a pie chart, what you're actually doing is you're trying to manipulate where you're taking those calories from so that you get more grams from a specific macronutrient. Now, actually, before I even get into that, I wanted to talk about energy expenditure, because energy can be drawn from protein, carbs, fat, everything. Your metabolism's drawing from a lot of sources for specific exercises, for specific actions. So let's say for HIIT training, for HIIT training, what you're actually drawing from is glycolysis. So you're metabolizing more of the carbs that you're taking in. That's why a lot of people like to carb load for their marathon runs, their cycling, whatnot, because their bodies are just using more glycolysis as a source of ATP, or like just the energy source for their cells. Now, if you go towards the other side, which is LISS training, low intensity, steady state, cardiovascular stuff, or exercises that just have your heart rate at a constant rate, those exercises, it actually utilizes a lot more fat. So not fat cells, but fat in grams, like the actual, like your intake of fat as a macronutrient. It's all about manipulating your body, or rather manipulating your sources of nutrition, your body's way of metabolizing things at certain times. So it's this huge, like this what I love about it is that you're just like juggling all of these functions, because you're not just now thinking about, oh, what do I need to do at the gym, or how do I need to exercise to get these results. It's how do I need to exercise given that this is how my diet is currently. So it's there's a lot in play. Now, I wanted to end by giving you guys an update on what I'm doing currently. So I just came off of a virtual show. I did my cuts. I did everything according to, like, as if I'm stepping on stage, because I mean, I did step on stage in my mind, So I had to perform, I had to be at my best look. So I dropped my carbs, I dropped my fat, I kept everything really low, brought up my protein again, so that the grams of protein I was taking in actually compensated for the lack of the other macronutrients, so that I could get my total caloric intake that I was aiming for. Now, sure, I was aiming for the lower end of the caloric spectrum, just so I could be on that deficit for a longer period of time. But like, again, it's dependent on the goal, it's dependent on what you're doing things for. And for me, what I was aiming for was the look, the aesthetic. So right now, post show, what I'm doing is, it's not an immediate load, but I'm trying to get to my baseline, which is around 2,200 calories. Slowly, I mean, I won't lie, I went all out the Sunday after the show, but slowly, trying to keep that steady 2,200 to 2,500 to just go back to the baseline. And then once my metabolism is ready, or steady, and it knows that I'm eating more carbs, I'm drinking more water, I have more sodium in my body as well. Like, once that's nice and dandy, then it's time to bring it up a notch by 100, 200 calories, more grams for carbs than anything really, just to, signal that the body can take from glycolysis when necessary for HIIT training or for weight training, because now we're trying to get to a muscle building phase or to trigger muscle hypertrophy, even if the gyms are closed. Like, I do have some weights, some gym equipment at home. I mean, sans the benches, the pull-ups and whatnot, but I do have resistance bands and all of that. So that, coupled with the proper nutrition, coupled with the proper targets for nutrition and weightlifting, I think you would be able to get some results from that. Sure, it might take longer, but that's why I'm not going on a lull after the show, knowing that I will have to be tip-top performance. Let's say if I did a mini cut for a week in a month. So, I want to keep that mentality, that I would want to keep that discipline so that I could just jump back in, and it will be less stress on my metabolism, on my body, to get back to competition state. So now that I've reached that, so now that I've reached that state, it would be easier for my body to go back to it. Really, it's a game of maintaining your discipline, maintaining your knowledge, knowing what to do in certain situations, when to do things. So the key points really to take to this is to know your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, know your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, just to know the macronutrient hits that you need from protein, carb, and fat. You can manipulate water and sodium as needed, depending on your body type, depending on your goals. There's a lot of resources online, just search it up. But eventually my goal is to have these videos where you could just click on it and be informed and take away some information as I've used them. This isn't stuff that I've just read. This is stuff that has worked for me. It might not work for you, or a variation of it might work for you, but it's the knowledge base, it's the base of education that I feel can contribute to a better physique for everyone, or better health for everyone. So it's really knowing what information to look for, where to look for it, and how to go about implementing it in your daily lives. I think that is what contributes to longevity of a diet, a regimen, a mentality. So again, this has been Robbie, and I'm here to give you guys all the information that I feel that everyone should have when it comes to fitness and nutrition. I'll catch you guys next time, but till then, stay healthy, stay happy. Brap, 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 brap.